gotta have my tea. I get this question a lot, and it's always like, how do you get clients? How do you approach getting your clients? And how should I approach getting my clients? I get this question more often than you might think. The difference between getting the clientele that you want versus just getting clientele is crazy. And no one has the end-all say-all answers to that question, which is how to get clientele. But in this video, I want to give 3 of my tips and what I kind of do and how I kind of approach this situation. But first of all, I hope you guys like the new format. I'm trying something new. I'm in my living room, as you can see behind me. Various couches, so I'm kind of mixing color with daylight and stuff because I had tungsten light, and this light shining from wrong side right about there is daylight, and I have tungsten all around me. So there's a little bit of color mixing a little bit, but you gotta make happen. So I hope you guys like the new format. If you don't, just tell me it's trash in the comments, but either way, I'm going to keep it like this until I don't want to anymore. But alright, so let's go ahead and get right into it. The first tip that I want to give you, which I think is the most important and what I found to be the most effective, is to 1, connect. What I mean by connect is I mean reaching out, trying to find people that you like to work with. Like, let's say it's a rap artist that you like. Say they have a show coming up. Head to that show, check it out. If you can catch them on the side, do it. You know, try to communicate with them, or in better words, I like to reach out on Instagram because Instagram is a huge platform. Reach out, be like, hey man, just looking to grab a cup of coffee if you want. I got a couple video ideas, and by this point I've already listened to a couple other tracks. I've already came up with like 3 different concepts for those different tracks. You know, one-liner sentences. You don't have to do a bunch of work for free, just one-liner sentences that you can give them, and they're like, wow, this guy actually wants to work with me, and they might consider paying your prices for a music video. It's worth the cup of coffee, I think, to connect, because even if they don't use you right off the bat, they're going to probably keep checking out your work, and if you keep improving, then they're going to probably come to you in the future. If not, you're still going to connect and make a new fan, hopefully, and make someone who might know someone else. So the difference between connecting and just like not connecting is crazy. I mean, I see people who just put out work all the time, but they don't seem to always build their client base because they're just not going out there and connecting, which is something that I've been trying to do in 2019 this year. That has been a substantial difference in my clientele and in my work load and getting more people every month. But anyways, number 2 is to create. What I mean by create is always just keep creating. It's pretty self-explanatory. And show your work. I know a lot of people create and they never show it, and they don't post because they're too ashamed of it because they don't have the best camera, or it doesn't look how they want it to, or it doesn't look like someone else's work. But the difference between creating and not creating is someone who is not getting better and someone who is getting better. Your work is not going to look like Darren Aronofsky's or Quentin Tarantino's or Martin Scorsese's right off the bat. It's just not going to happen. Those guys have, you know, they're masters at what they do. You have to keep creating. You always have to keep improving, or you're never going to get to that level that you want. So that's tip number 2. So keep creating, because people are going to go check out that work and they're going to be like, this guy is getting better, and they're going to be like, I want to work with him. And that's a super important rule to keep, because as long as you're creating, you're improving, and as long as you're creating, people are seeing it, and as long as you're creating, people know you're serious. They're going to want to hit you up, whether it be a small project that you do for $1,000 or a project that you do for $15,000. You always got to keep creating. Tip number 3 is word of mouth. This comes in a lot of different forms, but I get most of my client base off word of mouth. And that's because I always take to every client, I always take in the mindset of creating the best possible experience that I can. So that way, when they go and talk to their friends about the experience of creating video with me, Thieves Productions / David.piersaul, they always go and they're like, oh my gosh, like, you guys gotta book them for your commercial, for your cat commercial. They're gonna want to give you a good review. This is especially important for my wedding business, because if I leave them with just a mediocre experience, or they're just like, oh, it was all right, the video was good, but you know, his personality wasn't that good. That's exactly the mindset that they're gonna have. You always want to create a good experience, and that comes with word of mouth. And another thing with word of mouth is that, you know, always, whether it be someone that you're working with or you're working for, or someone like basically someone, a client, or someone that you're working alongside, whether that be another DP or another director or anybody in the industry, always trying to leave a good impression, because they're going to want to recommend you again. That's very important. Word of mouth is like the number 1 thing for me. I get a lot of people just saying recommended. I get so many recommendations for friends, and I'm extremely appreciative of it, and it's always brought me business, because someone wants to hear from someone that they already know that this person is good to work with, because they already know that they trust that person. So That is like super important rule. Yeah, guys, I mean, the difference between getting clientele just to have clientele and getting clientele you want is essentially those three things for me personally. I mean, there's a lot of other things you can take into consideration, like running ads or cold calling and stuff like that, which are very effective things. But I just wanted to give 3 main tips for me that you guys can apply to your career today, that you can do right after you stop watching this video, that can have an effect on your career substantially. So yeah, I would love for you guys to go out. I want you to reach out to people. I want you to always create, and I want you to always try to leave a best experience for the client. That way they recommend you for their friends, or best experience for your coworkers. That way they recommend you to their coworkers, and you become a name in the industry in whatever city you're in, hopefully nationwide. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know if you guys want to see other videos like this where I give more or less about the production side of things and more about the behind the scenes, the thought process that it takes to create something. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys like the new format. But until next time, peace.